So I've been reincarnated. I woke up in one of those cheesy novels where the whole family dotes on one character, and I'm the evil older sister who shares my name, Hannah. Right now, the most classic scene from the book is playing out in front of me. My sister, Chloe, the one the whole family worships, is kneeling dramatically in the middle of the living room, weeping like her life depends on it. She's threatening to cut ties with the family over some broke guy named Leo. I just want Leo. I don't want anything else. Mom, Dad, Chris, if you try to stop me, I'll kill myself. My dad, the CEO of a publicly traded company, is sweating bullets. Chloe, don't scare your father like that. My mom, a famous artist, is sobbing so hard she looks like she's about to faint. My darling, what kind of poison has that man fed you? My brother, a pop star in the making, is gritting his teeth. Is he forcing you to do this? Just tell me and I'll go break his legs. The whole family is in chaos, a whirlwind of drama spinning around the angelic heroine. And then there's me, the only sane person in this book, and its biggest villain. I slowly raise my hand. Smack. A crisp slap echoes through the villa. The world falls silent. I shake out my tingling hand, looking down at Chloe's stunned face, and speak coldly. Try again after you've drained the water out of your head. Hannah, are you insane? My dad, Jack, is the first to react. His roar seems to make the crystal chandelier tremble. My mom, Linda, rushes over and shields Chloe in her arms, her tears mixed with fury. How could you hit your sister? She's your own flesh and blood. My brother, Chris, storms right up to me and grabs my wrist, squeezing hard enough to crush it. Are you just jealous of Chloe? Can't you stand to see her happy? How can your heart be so vicious? The grip is painful, but I don't even flinch. I scan this family of hopelessly romantic fools, feeling a throb in my temples. In the original story, the me at this moment, jealous of her sister's passionate love affair, spews a torrent of vicious words. This cements her reputation as the evil older sister, and makes the entire family despise her. But now, I'm the one in charge. A normal person who's been beaten down by the real world, seen countless cases of emotional manipulation, and is dedicated to stamping out drama and martyrdom. My mission? Simple. Cure this family of their obsession with romance. I'm saving her, and I'm saving all of you. I pull my wrist free, my voice as calm as still water. You're all acting like you've been hexed, willing to live or die for a man you've only met a few times. You're disgracing the family name. You're lying. Chloe shrieks from our mother's arms, clutching her reddened cheek, hurt and furious. You don't know what love is. Leo is so good to me. He's the person who loves me most in the whole world. Oh, is he? I pull my lips into a cold smirk. I turn, grab a manila envelope from the shelf by the door, and walk back to the center of the living room. With a sharp flick, I dump its contents onto the polished marble floor. Then why don't you explain why this person who loves you most in the world is juggling relationships with 5 other girls at the same time? Photos, chat logs, and transaction screenshots scatter across the floor. Every photo shows Leo in an intimate pose with a different girl, arm around her waist, cheek to cheek, even selfies from a hotel room. Every chat log is filled with disgusting, cringe-worthy messages. He uses the same pet names, the same lines, and asks for the same expensive gifts and cash from each girl. This pure-hearted, broke boyfriend of yours has 7 or 8 different hookup apps on his phone. He calls girl a baby, girl be darling, and girl see sweetheart. As for you, I bend down, pick up a screenshot, and flick it with my finger. Ah, you're his little princess. The color drains from Chloe's face. No, that's impossible. Chloe's voice trembles as she crawls forward, frantically sifting through the evidence. This is all photoshopped. You faked it. You're just jealous, so you're trying to frame him. My brother Chris immediately backs her up. Yeah, it has to be fake. Leo might be poor, but he seems like an honest guy. There's no way he'd do something like this. My dad frowns. He doesn't say anything, but the doubt in his eyes says it all. Only my mom's face grows darker and darker as she looks at the explicit chat logs. I almost have to laugh at this family. The evidence is staring them in the face, and they still don't believe it. Is the heroine's halo in these novels really that powerful? Anything she says is right, And anything the villain does is wrong. Faked. I cross my arms, watching them with amusement. Then what about this? I take out my phone, play a video, and turn the volume all the way up. It's a recording of a conversation between Leo and one of his buddies. Dude, you're killing it. Bagged another rich girl? Rich girl? More like a brainless idiot. The Chloe girl from that big shot family? Sounds impressive, but she's dumb as a rock. Believes every word I say. So how much are you planning to get out of her this time? First, I'll get her to fight with her family, cut her off from them. Then she'll be putty in my hands. That condo in her name, and that unlimited credit card her mom gave her, haha. Once I get my hands on all that, I'm gonna travel the world. Who has time to babysit this little princess? In the recording, Leo's voice is smug and contemptuous, a world away from the devoted persona he shows Chloe. The living room is dead silent. Chloe sways, as if all her strength has been sucked out of her, and collapses onto the floor. No, this isn't real. Her lips move, but she can no longer force out the words. It's fake. She knows that voice all too well. My dad's face is livid. He kicks over the mahogany coffee table beside him, sending the expensive tea set crashing to the floor. That bastard. That animal. He's trembling with rage. I almost handed my daughter over to that piece of scum. My brother Chris's face flushes red and then pales. He looks from the evidence on the floor to his devastated sister, his knuckles white as he clenches his fists. Shame, anger, and fear flicker across his face. I'm gonna go find some guys and break his legs, he snarls. No need. I calmly put my phone away. I already called the police. What? The entire family stares at me stunned. He's suspected of fraud involving a significant amount of money. The evidence is solid. If all goes well, he'll be spending the rest of his life behind a sewing machine in prison. I shrug. Compared to breaking his legs, this is a much better punishment. In the original book, after Leo drained Chloe of all her savings and the family's financial support, he vanished without a trace. Chloe never recovered, becoming a permanent source of pain for the family. But now that I'm here, I won't let that happen. When dealing with scum, you use the law. Ruin them so completely they can never get back up. Chloe finally breaks down sobbing, not for Leo, but for her own foolishness and her trampled heart. My mom holds her, crying along and murmuring comforts. Don't cry, Chloe. It's good that you see him for who he is. It's my fault. I almost ruined your life. The drama at last is over. I look at the mother and daughter weeping in each other's arms, and the father and son beside them beating their chests in regret, and I just feel tired. Curing one romance-obsessed person was just the beginning. 3 more to go. I sigh. It feels less like I've been reincarnated as a villain, and more like I'm here to suffer through a trial. After the Leo incident, the house was quiet for a few days. Chloe got sick from the shock and locked herself in her room, refusing to eat or drink. The whole family went back to revolving around her. My dad canceled all his meetings to personally make her soup. My mom shut down her gallery exhibition to watch over her 24/7. My brother took a long leave of absence and bought mountains of luxury bags and jewelry to try and cheer her up. Watching this familiar scene play out, the vein in my temple starts to throb again. Falling into the same trap once wasn't enough for them. They just had to find another way to coddle her into becoming a useless adult. I push open Chloe's door, ignore the disapproving look from my mom, and walk straight to the bed, ripping the covers off her. If you're going to die, do it somewhere else. Don't be an eyesore around the house, I say coldly. Hannah, my mom shrieks. Chloe looks up at me with swollen, red eyes, her voice weak. Sis, do you hate me that much? Yes. I nod without hesitation. It's not just that I hate you, you disgust me. Wasting away over a man. Is your life really so empty that it's nothing without a relationship? Is this what our family raised you to be? A helpless waste of space who can't survive without a man? My words are like daggers, each one hitting its mark. Chloe's face goes pale, and her tears fall even faster. My mom is shaking with anger, pointing at me. Get out. I don't have a daughter like you. Mom, are you sure you want me to leave? I turn to her, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. Do you really think she's the only one in this house who needs saving right now? I glance meaningfully toward my dad's study. My mom freezes. For the past few days, my dad, Jack, has been acting strange too. He's been spending a lot of time in his study, always with the door locked. At dinner, he's constantly on his phone, a dopey grin plastered on his face. Based on my knowledge of the plot, I know the next bombshell is about to drop. My dad's first love, the one that got away, is about to make her entrance. In the book, my dad reconnects online with his high school sweetheart, Claire. She tells him a sob story about how she married a terrible man and has had a miserable life, reminiscing about the wonderful times she had with my dad. His romance-addled brain kicks into high gear. He feels guilty, convinced he let her down all those years ago. So he starts sending her crazy amounts of money, and even considers divorcing my mom and giving up his fortune to be with her. This is what triggers a massive financial crisis for the family company, nearly bankrupting it. And now, it's clearly already started. I look at my mother, still wrapped up in her daughter's heartbreak, and decide to give her a little warning. Mom, has Dad been acting a little off lately? I ask casually. Linda pauses, then shakes her head. Your father, he's probably just stressed from work. Is he? I let out a soft laugh. Or is he stressed out over an online friend named Sunshine Girl? The color drains from Linda's face. Sunshine Girl is the username my dad uses for his first love, Claire. My mom clearly knows who she is. Her lips tremble as she looks at me, her eyes filled with shock and disbelief. How do you know that? If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. I look at her calmly. Mom, you're a smart woman. Stop lying to yourself. That woman has already stolen Dad's heart. If you continue to be this weak, this house won't be yours for much longer. Linda stumbles, grabbing the wall to keep her balance. No, Jack wouldn't do this to me. We've been married for so many years. Years of marriage mean nothing when compared to the one that got away. I shatter her illusions without mercy, especially one who's been romanticized in his head for over 20 years. I press a tiny listening device into her palm. I took this from the phone in Dad's study. Want to hear what your loving husband and his first love have been talking about? Linda's fingertips are ice cold. She clutches the small black device as if it's a bomb about to detonate. Finally, with trembling hands, she presses play. Claire, please don't cry. It breaks my heart to hear you cry. It's my dad's voice, so gentle it's dripping with honey. Jack, I have so many regrets. If only I'd been braver back then. I'd be the one by your side now. That's Claire, sobbing pitifully. It's not too late. Claire, trust me. I'll make up for everything I owe you. Wait for me. I'll come get you soon, and we'll never be apart again. But you have a family and children. None of that matters. I would give up anything for you. The recording ends there. There isn't a trace of color left in Linda's face. My mom collapsed on the floor and cried for the entire afternoon. It started with silent tears, then moved to choked sobs, and finally ended in heart-wrenching wails. She cried for her years of devotion, for her husband's cruel betrayal, for her crumbling family. I didn't comfort her. I knew that at a time like this, words were useless. She needed to figure it out for herself, to get back on her own 2 feet. Sometimes, you have to hit rock bottom before you can be reborn. By evening, she had cried herself out. She stood up, her eyes swollen like walnuts. She walked over to me, her voice hoarse but incredibly firm. Hannah, tell me what I should do. I see the light rekindle in her eyes and nod, relieved. Good. The second romance addict can be saved. Simple. I hand her a file. Fight fire with fire. Inside is a complete dossier on Claire. Her husband wasn't the abusive, gambling degenerate she described. He was a small-time construction foreman, and while he had a temper, he was good to her and their kids. Her 2 children weren't honor roll students. They were notorious troublemakers known for skipping school, fighting, and petty theft. And as for Claire herself, she was a pathological liar. She'd been unemployed for years, addicted to playing mahjong and online shopping, and was drowning in debt that her husband had paid off time and time again. She only contacted my dad because she'd taken out a loan from a loan shark and was desperate. Dad feels like he owes her and wants to make it up to her, right? A cold smile touches my lips. Then let's let him make it up to her all at once. 3 days later, it was my dad Jack's birthday. He was up early, dressed in a custom-tailored suit, his hair slicked back with gel, and for the first time ever, wearing cologne. He reeked of a man on his way to a date. He announced that he was holding his birthday dinner at the Monarch, the most luxurious 5-star hotel in the city, and specifically mentioned that he had invited a very important guest. My mom and I exchanged a look. We both knew. It was time. At 7 o'clock that evening, the whole family was gathered in a top-floor private room at the Monarch. Chloe was mostly recovered. She was still a bit quiet, but her color was back. Chris was on his phone, giggling to himself. He was obviously flirting with some starlet again. My dad was fidgeting, looking anxiously at the door, his phone never leaving his hand. "Jack, where's your important guest?" "They're late," my mom Linda said, swirling a glass of red wine, her tone unreadable. Soon. They should be at the door any minute," my dad replied, wringing his hands. Just as he spoke, the door to the room opened. A middle-aged woman in a white dress and delicate makeup stood timidly in the doorway. Her eyes red-rimmed as she looked at my dad with a pitiful expression. "Jack, I'm here." It was Claire. My dad shot to his feet, his eyes lighting up. "Claire, you finally made it. Quick, come in and sit down." He eagerly pulled out the chair next to him, acting as if she were the only person in the world. He completely missed the icy glare on my mom's face. He also didn't notice that my brother and sister were staring at him like he was an alien. Claire sat down demurely, her gaze sweeping over us before landing on my mom with a hint of provocation. "You must be Linda. You're so elegant. Jack talks about you all the time." My mom forced a smile. "Does he? What does he say? Does he mention how he's planning to divorce me so he can run off with you?" The air in the room instantly froze. My dad's face turned beet red. "Linda, what are you talking about? It's my birthday." Claire's face paled, tears welling up instantly. "You've misunderstood. Jack and I are just old friends." "Old friends?" I scoffed, throwing a stack of photos onto the table. "Do old friends call each other honey and sweetheart in their private messages? Do old friends accept millions of dollars from another woman's husband? Do old friends convince my dad to abandon his wife and kids and hand over the entire family business to you?" The photos showed screenshots of Claire's chats with my dad, along with records of the huge transfers he'd made to her. The evidence was undeniable. Claire panicked, looking to my dad for help. My dad pointed a trembling finger at me, furious. "Hannah, you rebellious child. Who told you to investigate this? This is between adults. Stay out of it." "Dad, if I don't get involved, you're going to lose everything." I met his gaze without fear. "You thought you were reconnecting with your pure, innocent first love after 20 years. In reality, you met a con artist who sees you as nothing but an ATM." "You're lying," Dad roared. "Am I?" I raised an eyebrow and picked up my phone. "Why don't we invite another special guest in and see what he has to say?" I dialed a number. A second later, the door to the room was kicked open. A mountain of a man, 6'3" and built like a linebacker with a dragon tattoo on his arm, stormed in. He was followed by 2 sullen teenagers who looked like they'd just been in a fight. The man's eyes scanned the room, finally locking onto Claire. He let out a thunderous roar. "Claire, you worthless woman. I send you out to buy groceries, and you run off to cheat on me with some old geezer?" The scene descended into chaos. The mountain of a man, who was Claire's legal husband, grabbed her by the hair, cursing a blue streak. "So this is it. You're in debt again, aren't you? Which sugar daddy is paying it off this time?" "Him." He pointed at my dad, his eyes bulging. Claire shrieked, struggling frantically. "Let go of me. Tony, you're crazy." Her 2 delinquent sons joined the fray. One clung to my dad's leg, wailing, "Give me back my mom. You're a homewrecker." The other one started efficiently clearing the table, stuffing king crab legs into his pockets. My dad, Jack, was completely dumbfounded. He stared blankly at this woman, who was now wrestling with her husband like a cornered animal. He couldn't reconcile her with the girl in his memory, the one in a white dress smiling at him in the sun. His dream girl, his pure and tragic first love, was shattered into a million pieces by this ugly reality. What is going on?" he mumbled as if in a trance. "What's going on?" Tony shoved Claire to the floor and glared at my dad. "I'll tell you what's going on. This woman is my wife. We've been married for 15 years. She sits at home all day doing nothing but playing cards and shopping online, racking up debts that I have to pay off. You old pervert, got more money than sense? You mess with my wife, and I swear I'll break you in half." He raised a fist the size of a dinner plate. My mom, Linda, let out a scream. My brother, Chris, instinctively stood up to protect our dad. Just then, my voice cut through the noise, cold and clear. "Mr. Tony, please calm down." I pushed a legal document across the table toward him. "Your wife, Miss Claire, has, through fraudulent means and with the intent of illegal possession, deceived my father, Mr. Jack, of a total of over $5 million. We have sufficient grounds to sue her for fraud. However," I paused, looking at Tony. "Considering you're married and have 2 children, if you return the money and guarantee that Miss Claire will never harass my father again, we can choose not to press charges." Tony froze. He looked from the legal notice to me, a new wariness in his eyes. Claire stopped wailing. She knew she had messed with the wrong people. In the end, Tony signed a written guarantee, then dragged Claire and her 2 hellion sons out of the room. As he left, he shot a final glare at my dad. "Stay away from my wife, or I'll beat you every time I see you." The room was finally quiet, leaving only a trail of destruction behind. My dad, Jack, sat frozen in his chair like a statue, his face ashen. He looked like he had aged 10 years in an instant. The beautiful love story he had cherished for decades had been brutally torn apart by a vulgar farce. My mom, Linda, walked over to him. She didn't cry or scream. She just calmly placed a document in front of him. It was a divorce agreement. "Jack, let's get a divorce." Her voice was unnervingly calm. "I've had our lawyer divide the assets. The company is yours. The house, our savings, and custody of the children are mine. You can leave with nothing." My dad's head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Linda, didn't you say you would give up anything for her?" My mom smiled, a smile more painful than tears. "Well, I'm granting your wish. Go chase your long-lost love. I wish you both happiness." With that, she turned and walked away, her back straight and resolute. My dad finally panicked. He scrambled up and grabbed her hand, his voice breaking. "Linda, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were just living in a 20-year-old dream." I finished for him. I walked up to him, looking at his face, now a mask of regret and terror. "Dad, it's time to wake up. You're not some romantic hero. You're just a middle-aged fool who got scammed out of his money and almost his family. The person you betrayed wasn't a girl you haven't seen in 20 years. It was the wife who has stood by you for 20 years, who raised your children and made this house a home." Every word was a hammer blow to his heart. He let go of my mom's hand and slumped to the floor. A man in his 50s, crying like a lost child. My dad's hopeless romanticism was finally cured. He begged my mom for forgiveness all night, wrote an 800-word apology letter, and voluntarily handed over all his bank cards and the company seal. He was barely granted probation. From then on, he was like a timid husband around my mom, fetching her tea, giving her massages, and catering to her every whim. My mom became the undisputed queen of the house. Her mood improved dramatically, and she even sold several new paintings. The family's second crisis was averted. Next up, number 3. My brother Chris. The pop star in training was currently head over heels for a B-list actress named Fiona. Fiona, with her innocent girl persona, was admittedly pretty, but in a place as grimy as the entertainment industry. How many people are truly clean? In the original book, my brother used the family's resources to make her famous, going against his own agency, and even nearly sacrificing his career for her. The result? Fiona used him as a stepping stone. The moment she got famous, she dumped him for a much bigger industry tycoon. The blow devastated my brother. He went from a promising idol to an alcoholic wreck. I wasn't about to let him repeat that mistake. I watched him staring at a photo of Fiona on his phone, smiling like an idiot, and decided to make my move. Chris, you and that Fiona girl seem to be getting pretty close, I said casually. Chris looked up, instantly on guard. What are you planning now? I'm warning you, Fiona is a good person. Don't you dare try to hurt her. A good person? I laughed. Bro, I think your definition of good person might be a little skewed. What's that supposed to mean? Chris's face darkened. Nothing much. I took out my phone and sent him a series of files. I just thought you should see what kind of person your good girl really is. What I sent Chris was a greatest hits collection of dirt on Fiona that I'd paid a private investigator to dig up. The contents were extensive. They included, but were not limited to, before and after photos of her plastic surgery, showing her transformation from monolids, a flat nose, and a square jaw to her current double eyelids, high nose bridge, and V-shaped face. It was practically a head transplant. Her real academic credentials, not the prestigious film academy she claimed, but a hotel management degree from some obscure technical college. And the juiciest part, high-definition photos and videos of her late-night script readings with various directors, producers, and investors. In the photos, she was dressed provocatively, fawning over balding, pot-bellied middle-aged men with a flirtatious smile. The videos were filled with sounds that were too explicit to describe. Chris scrolled through the files, his expression shifting from anger to shock, then to a deathly pale, and finally to a flat, empty gray. The hand holding his phone was shaking like he had Parkinson's. No, this can't be real. Fiona's not like that. He was still trying to deny it, but his voice had lost all conviction. Wake up, Chris. I patted his shoulder. You know better than I do how dirty this industry is. You think you're dating an angel, but you're just another fish in her pond, and a pretty big one at that. Fiona only got close to my brother because she was after his status as a rich heir, hoping to use his family's connections. She was stringing him along, getting resources and endorsements from him, while simultaneously maintaining good relationships with other powerful men. She was casting a wide net. Chris was just one of many guys she had on the back burner, and he wasn't even her favorite. Last night she told you she was pulling an all-nighter on set, right? I asked. Chris nodded numbly. I played the last video for him. It was filmed at a luxury villa on the outskirts of the city. The timestamp was from late last night. In the video, Fiona, wearing a sexy silk nightgown, saunters over to a bloated, greasy-looking man by the pool with a glass of red wine and purrs. Daddy. Chris's eyes instantly turned bloodshot. He shot to his feet and punched the wall, blood trickling from his knuckles. Bitch, he roared, like a wounded animal. My brother locked himself in the home gym and beat the hell out of a punching bag all night. When he emerged the next morning, his eyes were bloodshot, but his gaze was clear. He didn't cry or throw a fit. He just silently ate the breakfast I had made for him. Hannah, he said after he finished, looking up at me, his voice a bit raspy. Thank you. We're family. You don't have to thank me. I handed him a napkin. Have you decided what to do next? I have. He wiped his mouth, his eyes turning cold and sharp. She likes to play games? Fine. I'll play a big one with her. I raised an eyebrow, surprised. I thought he'd either confront Fiona directly or hire someone to get revenge. I never expected my sweet, naive brother to have this in him. Need my help? I asked. No. Chris shook his head, a self-deprecating smile on his lips. I've been played for a fool for this long. I need to get back what's mine on my own. Don't worry, I won't use the family's resources, and I won't do anything illegal. He stood up and patted my head. It was the first time I could remember him treating me as an equal. You've protected us all so well. Now it's my turn to be a man and clean up my own mess. At that moment, watching his retreating back, I suddenly thought that maybe this brother of mine wasn't so bad after all. For the next 2 weeks, Chris acted like nothing had happened. He kept sending Fiona flowers, buying her bags, and visiting her on set. He was even more attentive than before, making Fiona believe she had him wrapped around her little finger. She started getting bolder, hinting that he should invest in a major film she was starring in, and even asking him to pull some strings to get her a brand deal with a luxury designer. Chris agreed to everything, playing the part of a love-struck fool perfectly. Fiona was ecstatic. She bragged to her friends that the heir to a fortune was so obsessed with her that he was about to make her his wife. She had no idea that Chris was secretly recording every phone call and saving every message. She also had no idea that he had already contacted several media outlets and the daddy she was cheating on. A trap had been set. The day to spring it was Fiona's birthday party. She booked the most exclusive club in the city and invited half of the entertainment industry. It was a massive affair, all designed so she could publicly announce Chris's investment in her new movie and solidify her status as the future Mrs. Rich and Famous. As the leading man, Chris was, of course, dressed to the nines. I went with him, not to watch the show, but to make sure he didn't go off the rails. After all, recovering from a romance addiction can be an emotional roller coaster. At the party, Fiona, dressed in a designer gown, clung to my brother's arm like a proud princess, basking in everyone's compliments. "Fiona, your boyfriend is so good to you. He really is. So handsome and successful. You two are a perfect match. Don't forget us when you marry into that rich family." Fiona couldn't stop smiling, her eyes overflowing with smug satisfaction as she made small talk. Halfway through the party, she cleared her throat, took the microphone, and prepared to drop her bombshell announcement. "Thank you all for coming to my birthday party," she began in a saccharine voice. "Tonight, I have some wonderful news to share. My beloved Chris, who is standing right here beside me, has decided to." "He has decided," my brother interrupted, taking the microphone from her. He smiled at her, but his eyes were ice cold. "To give you a birthday present you'll never forget." Fiona froze. The crowd went silent. The next second, the massive LED screen in the center of the hall flickered to life. But instead of a movie poster, it showed Fiona's pre-surgery photos and a copy of her hotel management diploma. A gasp went through the room. The color drained from Fiona's face. "Chris, what are you doing?" she shrieked. "Patience. The gifts are just getting started," my brother said with the same cold smile, and snapped his fingers. The screen changed again, this time playing high-definition videos of her late-night script readings, with those directors and producers. Though the sensitive parts were censored, the compromising positions and explicit sounds were enough for everyone present to see her true colors. Turn it off. Turn it off now," Fiona screamed, trying to yank the power cord, but she was stopped by my brother's bodyguards. The guests erupted in a chorus of shocked whispers and scornful looks. "Oh my God, I can't believe she's that kind of person. She always acts so innocent. I never would have guessed she was so promiscuous. You really can't judge a book by its cover." Fiona's innocent girl persona shattered into a million pieces. But it wasn't over. The doors to the ballroom burst open, and Fiona's greasy daddy, flanked by his furious-looking wife, stormed in. "Fiona, you little tramp. Cheating on me with some pretty boy," the daddy roared. His wife was even more ferocious. She charged forward, grabbed Fiona's hair, and started slapping her back and forth across the face. "You shameless homewrecker. Seducing my husband. I'll tear you apart." The scene devolved into absolute chaos. Camera flashes went off like crazy as reporters swarmed forward to capture every moment of the drama of the year. Fiona, her hair a mess, shrieked and begged for mercy, a pathetic sight. My brother, Chris, just stood there, watching it all unfold with cold detachment. Only when Fiona was on the verge of passing out from the beating did he leisurely walk over and place a document in front of her. "The breakup agreement. Sign it," he said calmly. "Also, the money and gifts you got from me, which total $12 million, need to be returned within 3 days. Otherwise, I'll see you in court." Fiona stared at him, her eyes filled with hatred and disbelief. "Chris, you're so cruel. Takes one to know one," my brother said with a slight smile. "I learned from the best." Without another glance at her, he turned and walked out of the chaotic ballroom, his head held high. I followed behind him, watching his straight back. I knew that the third romance addict in our family was finally cured. The video of my brother publicly destroying his cheating girlfriend went viral that night. Public opinion was overwhelmingly on his side. Instead of damaging his reputation, the failed relationship actually gained him a ton of fans for being decisive, clear-headed, and willing to fight back. His career took off. He completely moved on, pouring all his energy into his work. He landed lead roles in several major projects and his future looked brighter than ever. 3 of the family's romance addicts were cured. Well, 2.5. Why 2.5? Because my saintly sister, Chloe, while seemingly over her heartbreak, going to class on time, coming home on time, quiet as a mouse, still hadn't dealt with the root of her problem. She had just swung from one extreme to the other. Before it was love conquers all. Now it was all men are pigs. She looked at every guy as if he was trying to scam her. My mom set her up on a few dates with decent, well-mannered guys from good families, but Chloe shot every one of them down with some excuse, making things incredibly awkward. "Hannah," she asked me one night, hugging a pillow as she crept into my room, "do you think there are any good men left in the world?" I looked into her frightened, rabbit-like eyes and sighed. Overcorrecting is its own kind of sickness, and it needed to be cured. "Of course there are good men," I said, closing the financial report I was reading. "But they don't just fall out of the sky and land in your lap. You have to go out and meet them, learn to judge their character, and build a relationship." "But I'm scared." Chloe looked down, her voice trembling. "I'm scared of meeting another guy like Leo. I honestly don't think I could survive that kind of pain again." "So you're just going to give up? Lock yourself away and refuse every possibility?" I asked her. "Chloe, you're only 20. Your life is just beginning. Are you really going to let one awful person ruin the entire world for you?" She bit her lip, silent, as tears streamed down her face. I knew that lectures weren't enough to fix her. She needed to see what a real, healthy relationship looked like. And she needed to understand that a woman's worth is never defined by a man. So I made a decision. I gave her managerial control of one of my subsidiary companies. It was a small but promising new media company focused on women's fashion and lifestyle products. "Starting tomorrow, you'll work there." I handed her the appointment letter. "Your position is executive assistant to the general manager. It's a 3-month, unpaid internship. If you don't perform, you're fired." The whole family was stunned. "Hannah, are you crazy? Chloe doesn't know the first thing about business. How can you put her in charge of a company?" My mom protested. "Yeah, Hannah, Chloe can't even read a balance sheet. She'll run it into the ground," my brother added. Only my dad looked at me thoughtfully, saying nothing. Chloe just waved her hands in panic. No, Hannah, I can't do it. Whether you can or not is my decision, not yours." My tone left no room for argument. "Be at the office at 8 a.m. sharp tomorrow. If you're 1 minute late, you can pack your things and go home." Without waiting for a response, I went back to my room. The next day, Chloe dragged herself to work. Her first day was a disaster. She was like a chicken with its head cut off. I asked her to summarize meeting notes, she messed up the formatting. I asked her to coordinate with a partner. She was so nervous she could barely speak. I asked her to order afternoon snacks for the staff. She didn't even know which delivery app to use. The veteran employees were polite to her face, knowing she was my sister, but behind her back, they were all laughing at her. Some Nepo baby who's just a pretty face. What can she possibly do? She's probably just here for the experience. She'll be crying home to mommy in a few days. Chloe heard the whispers and came home in tears every night. But this time, no one in the family coddled her or comforted her. I had given them strict orders. No one helps her. No one goes soft on her. Let her fail. Let her learn. If she can't handle this little bit of pressure, she'll never amount to anything. My parents and brother felt bad for her, but they knew I was right. They could only watch as Chloe came home exhausted every day, only to leave again the next morning with red, swollen eyes. The turning point came during her second week. The company landed a major project, a digital launch campaign for a new product from an internationally renowned skincare brand. This project was critical for the subsidiary. If it went well, the company's reputation would skyrocket. If it failed, they would lose a massive amount of money and damage their credibility. The director in charge of the project was a man named Liam. He was in his early 30s, calm, capable, and a powerhouse in the industry. He was the company's rock. He was also the real-world example I had prepared for Chloe. Liam was a classic workaholic, with incredibly high standards for himself and his team. As his assistant, Chloe was constantly on the receiving end of his criticism. Who wrote this data report? The logic is a mess, and the key points are buried. Redo it. Didn't I just go over the key communication points with the client yesterday? Why did you still miss 2 of them? Is your brain just for decoration? Chloe, if you can't do the job, then leave. I don't have room for dead weight here. He chewed her out so thoroughly that she was often on the verge of tears. But she held it in, and she started to learn. Desperately. During the day, she shadowed Liam, watching how he negotiated with clients, developed proposals, and managed his team. At night, she went home and devoured books on business and marketing, often studying late into the night. Her desk was covered in colorful sticky notes with reminders and key points. Her notebooks were filled with dense, scribbled notes. When you're focused on something, you forget about all the pointless drama and heartbreak. Slowly but surely, Chloe started to get the hang of things. Her reports became clearer and more logical. Her communication with clients became more fluent and confident. She even started anticipating what Liam needed before he asked for it. The way Liam looked at her began to change too. The initial disdain was slowly replaced by something else, admiration. The project reached its most critical phase. The night before the campaign launch, the tech department ran into a major problem. The back-end system crashed. Everyone was in a panic. If they couldn't fix it by midnight, the entire project would be a failure, and the company would face massive penalties for breach of contract. The tech team was sweating, frantically combing through the code, but they couldn't find the bug. Liam's face was grim, and the tension in the office was suffocating. Just when everyone was about to give up hope, Chloe spoke up. Mr. Stone, I think I might know what the problem is. All eyes turned to her. I minored in computer programming in college, she said, her voice uncertain. I was just looking at the code, and I think the issue might be in the database interface. One of the parameters is set incorrectly. The head of the tech department frowned. Impossible. We've checked that interface multiple times. But, Chloe gathered her courage, walked over to the computer, and pointed to a line of code on the screen. Look here. Doesn't this variable assignment conflict with the preceding logic? Everyone crowded around. Sure enough, they found a tiny but fatal logical error. The tech lead smacked his forehead. Oh my God. You're right. How did I miss that? They immediately fixed the code based on her suggestion. 5 minutes later, the system was back online. The office erupted in a thunderous round of applause and cheers. Everyone looked at Chloe with a new, profound respect. Liam walked over to her. He looked at her face, flushed with a mix of nerves and excitement, and for the first time he gave her a genuine smile. Chloe, you did a great job. In that moment, Chloe was stunned. That simple praise made her happier and more fulfilled than any designer bag or piece of jewelry ever had. She looked at the light in Liam's eyes and suddenly realized what it felt like to be recognized by a truly capable man. It was completely different from Leo's cheap sweet talk. The campaign was a huge success. The company's reputation soared, and they secured a long-term contract with the brand. At the celebration party, Chloe was the star of the show. Her colleagues toasted her, genuinely praising her for being brilliant and capable. She felt a little awkward but was mostly just happy. It was an incredible feeling of accomplishment, the kind you can only get by earning respect through your own hard work. After the party, Liam offered to drive her home. The car ride was mostly silent. As they neared her house, Liam finally spoke. Chloe, you're very different from what I expected. Oh. Chloe looked at him, confused. I thought you were just a pampered princess here to play at having a job, Liam said with a small smile. I didn't expect you to be so resilient and so smart. Chloe blushed. I wasn't like this before, she said quietly, looking down. I used to be really stupid. Everyone makes mistakes, Liam's voice was gentle. What matters is that you learn from them. He parked the car and turned to face her, his gaze serious and sincere. Chloe, can I ask you out? Chloe's head snapped up. She stared at him in shock, her heart skipping a beat. She looked into his eyes and saw none of the shallow lust she had seen in Leo's, nor the calculating ambition she saw in other men. There was only pure, genuine admiration. Her mind went blank, and her first instinct was to say no. But as the word formed on her lips, she remembered what I had told her. Don't let one awful person ruin the entire world for you. She took a deep breath and looked at Liam, facing a man's attention with courage and honesty for the first time. I need some time to think about it, she said. Okay, Liam smiled, a really nice smile. I'll wait. Chloe told me about Liam asking her out. Seeing her mix of nervousness and excitement, I knew the ice around her heart was beginning to thaw. It's your life, your decision, was all I said. But I have a few reminders for you. First, don't rush into a relationship. Take your time to observe and get to know him. Second, always maintain your financial and intellectual independence. Your career is your greatest strength. And third, most importantly, never stop growing as a person for any man. Chloe nodded seriously, taking my words to heart. She didn't immediately say yes to Liam. Instead, they started as friends. They went out for dinner, saw movies, and discussed work together. She discovered that Liam wasn't just a great professional, he was also well-read, witty, and funny. He took her to concerts, museums, and industry conferences. He showed her a bigger, more exciting world. And Chloe, in turn, worked hard to become a better version of herself. She excelled at her job. After her 3-month internship, I officially promoted her to general manager. She began to lead projects and manage teams on her own, becoming a sharp and decisive businesswoman. She also enrolled in an MBA program, studying in her spare time. She grew more confident, more charismatic, more magnetic. 6 months later, on her 21st birthday, she was the one who asked him out. Liam, I'm ready. Liam looked at the radiant young woman in front of him and pulled her into an emotional hug. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. The last romance addict in our family was finally cured. Watching my sister find someone truly worthy of her love, and also find her own purpose in life, I was genuinely happy for her. Our family was finally back on track. My dad became a devoted husband, whose greatest joy was trying new recipes and being my mom's chauffeur. My mom became the queen of her domain, spending her days painting, arranging flowers, and going to the spa, living her best life. My brother became a true A-list star, focused on his career, steering clear of scandals, and becoming a breath of fresh air in the entertainment industry. My sister became a powerhouse in the business world, with a thriving career and a happy relationship, living a life other girls could only dream of. And me? As the rock of this family, I could finally retire, right? Wrong. Because I discovered that while they were no longer obsessed with romance, they had developed a new affliction. Older sister dependency syndrome. Hannah, can you look over the company's strategic plan for the next quarter? Hannah, what do you think of this new script I got? Hannah, honey, taste this pot roast your dad made. Is it too salty? Hannah, Liam's mom wants us to come over for dinner next month. What should I wear? Should I bring a gift? Every day when I came home, I was swarmed by the 4 of them, chirping at me with all sorts of questions. From corporate strategy and script selection to what to wear and what to eat, and even personal matters like meeting the in-laws, they needed my approval for everything. It was as if they couldn't function without me. I sat on the sofa, watching these 4 faces eagerly waiting for me to sign off on their lives, and felt that familiar throb in my temples. I had finally cured them of their romantic delusions, only to turn them all into my personal dependents. This wouldn't do. They needed to learn how to be truly independent. So, on a sunny weekend, I called a family meeting. As of today, I am officially announcing the rollout of the Family Rules, version 2.0. I cleared my throat and held up a document I had stayed up all night to print. Rule number 1. No romantic obsessions. This rule remains and must be engraved in your DNA. Rule number 2. Be responsible for your own life. In your careers, you are all adults. Learn to make your own judgments and decisions. In your personal lives, stop asking me everything. I am not Google. Rule number 3. Establish a family growth fund. Every month, each of you will contribute 10% of your income to this fund for joint investments and learning opportunities. We'll distribute dividends at the end of the year. Rule number 4. Saturday nights are now for family review meetings. Everyone will share their week's accomplishments, challenges, and plans for the future. We will learn from and support each other. Rule number 5, and this is the most important, I said, looking at each of them. I, Hannah, am taking a long vacation next month to travel the world. The duration is undecided, and my return date is unknown. While I'm gone, you are all on your own. What? For shocked faces stared back at me. Hannah, you're leaving? What will we do without you? Chloe was the first to panic. She's right, honey. You can't leave. The family will fall apart, my mom cried. Yeah, Hannah. There's so much at the company that needs your approval. My dear daughter, you can't just abandon your poor old dad. They looked at me like it was the end of the world. I smiled. I'm just taking a vacation. It's not like I'm never coming back, I reassured them. This family will be just fine without me. Each of you is incredibly talented. You need to believe in yourselves. Our family has been through a lot this past year. We've all made mistakes and we've all grown. Now, it's time for you to take the helm of your own lives. I stood up, opened my arms, and pulled all 4 of them into a group hug. My dearest family, you're not babies who need my protection anymore. You can be each other's wings now. I really did go on vacation. I turned off my phone, packed a single backpack, and with one plane ticket, I started a solo journey from the islands of the southern hemisphere to the snowy mountains of the northern. At first, I worried about them. I worried my dad would get scammed by another first love. I worried my mom would fall back into her melancholy. I worried my brother would misjudge someone's character again. I worried my sister would face setbacks in her work or relationship. But I resisted the urge to contact them. I trusted them. A month later, I turned my phone on and was flooded with unread messages. Not a single one was a cry for help. They were all sharing their successes. My dad sent a picture of a new gourmet dish he'd perfected, proudly telling me Mom said he had the talent of a master chef. My mom sent a photo from her solo art exhibition, where she stood in front of her work, smiling with confidence and grace. My brother sent a picture of himself holding a Best Actor award, and in his acceptance speech, he gave a special thanks to his family. My sister sent a photo of her and Liam at the courthouse, holding their marriage certificate. The ring on her finger sparkled, and there was one picture of the 4 of them together. While I was gone, they had held their family review meeting every week, encouraging and supporting one another. In the photo, every one of them was smiling, so brightly and genuinely. It was a happiness that came from a deep love for and control over their own lives. I looked at that photo, standing on a street in a foreign country, and couldn't help but smile too. 6 months later, I ended my trip and came home. Everything in the house was in perfect order. In fact, things were thriving even more than when I was there. My dad had become a well-known local chef, and even opened his own private kitchen, which was always booked solid. My mom's art galleries had expanded across the country, and she was now a respected figure in the art world. My brother had started his own production studio. The films he invested in were both critically acclaimed and commercially successful, and he had successfully transitioned into a respected actor and producer. My sister was running her company brilliantly. It had grown several times over, and she was pregnant with her first child, about to become a mother. At dinner, they ceremoniously gave me the seat at the head of the table. A warm welcome home to our family's greatest hero, the Queen Mother. My brother cheered. The whole family burst out laughing. I looked at their happy, smiling faces, my heart filled with warmth. You all did so well while I was gone, I said, my voice full of pride. Of course we did, my sister said, patting her belly. We were trained by the best, Hannah. Exactly, my dad said, putting a piece of pot roast on my plate. We're all battle-hardened veterans now. Nothing can touch us. My mom shot him a playful look. Keep bragging. If it weren't for Hannah, you'd probably be someone's personal ATM right now. The whole family roared with laughter again. Amid the laughter, I suddenly realized that being reincarnated into this book as the evil older sister wasn't such a bad thing after all. To be able to steer a family of romance addicts back onto the right path, to watch them find themselves and live such incredible lives. That feeling of accomplishment was better than making $100 million. After dinner, we all sat in the backyard, watching the stars. My brother-in-law, Liam, thoughtfully draped a blanket over my mom's shoulders. My sister-in-law, a gentle and intelligent university professor, was quietly discussing a script with my brother. My dad and mom were huddled together, sharing a pair of earbuds, listening to some old song. My sister leaned against me, her hand resting on her round belly, her face glowing with a happy maternal light. "Hannah," she said suddenly. "Thank you. Don't be silly." I stroked her hair. "I mean it," she said, looking at me seriously. "Without you, I can't imagine what would have become of us. Without you, I might have ruined my own life. Without you, this family might have fallen apart long ago. You taught us what real love is, and what it means to truly live. Hannah, you're the one our family really revolves around." I looked into her clear eyes and smiled. She was right. Who says that in a novel like this, the one who gets all the love has to be the one who seems weakest and most in need of protection? The real center of the family is the one who makes the whole family better, who helps everyone shine. And I was honored to have become our family's true matriarch. I leaned back in my lounge chair and took a sip of lemonade. Yep, curing my whole family's obsession with romance feels pretty damn good. As for my own love life, I glanced at my phone, at the 99th goodnight text from the CEO of a multinational corporation, and smiled to myself. No rush. I'll take my time. After all, I'm an expert in fighting romantic delusions. You want to date me? First, you'll have to fill out my 300-question, anti-manipulation and emotional intelligence survey.